Welcome, fellow history fanatics, to a subject that chills the very marrow, the most dangerous civilizations of the ancient world. We're not talking quaint relics in museums, no sir. We're talking about societies whose very names sent shivers down the spines of their contemporaries. The kind of cultures where war wasn't just a policy, it was woven into their DNA. Join me, won't you, as we unearth these titans from the dustbin of the past, examining not just their might, but they were so formidable, and what that says about humanity itself. Let's just get right to it, shall we? No tiptoeing around the ancient world's bad boys, the Assyrians. Imagine, if you will, living in the ancient Near East. You're a farmer, a potter, a merchant, maybe even a king. Life has its ups and downs, as it always does. But then, on the horizon, a dust cloud appears. It grows larger, more ominous by the minute. That, my friends, is the Assyrian army, and for you, it's the worst kind of bad news.
These weren't just conquerors. They were organized brutality personified. Their military machine was a marvel, centuries ahead of its time. We're talking iron weaponry when everyone else was still messing around with bronze. We're talking siege warfare that would make a Roman engineer blush. But it wasn't just the technology, was it? It was the Assyrians were masters of logistics, able to field and massive armies across vast distances.
Imagine the terror of knowing that no matter how far you ran, no matter how well you hid, the Assyrian war machine would find you. And when they found you, well, let's just say they weren't known for their mercy. We're talking about accounts of mass executions, of populations deported en masse, of cities razed to the ground and sown with salt.
Now, some might say, Dan, you're painting with a broad brush here. And they wouldn't be entirely wrong. The Assyrians weren't all bloodthirsty monsters. They had a complex culture with art and literature and all the trappings of civilization. But there's no getting around it. Fear was their weapon, and a very effective weapon it was.
They understood that true power didn't come from just winning battles, but from breaking the will of your enemies before the first arrow was even loosed. Their empire, spanning centuries and vast swathes of territory, is a testament to this brutal efficiency. The Assyrians, my friends, are a stark reminder that sometimes the most dangerous creatures in the jungle aren't the ones with the sharpest claws, but the ones who understand how to use fear to bend others to their will. Think about that the next time you're reading about some ancient empire that crumbled and fell. Because the Assyrians, for all their brutality, understood a fundamental truth. Power, like history itself, is written by the victors. From the sun-baked plains of Mesopotamia, we travel to the rugged, unforgiving landscape of ancient Greece. Here, nestled in the Peloponnese region, lived a people who turned hardship into an art form, whose very name became synonymous with martial prowess, the Spartans.
Now, Sparta wasn't some sprawling empire like Assyria. No, their power was different, more focused. They were a society built for one purpose and one purpose only: war. And they were good at it. From the moment a Spartan boy was born, his life was dedicated to the state, to the pursuit of martial excellence. Imagine a childhood where playing meant learning swordsmanship, where weakness was ruthlessly weeded out. This wasn't just training, it was indoctrination. Spartans breathed, ate, and slept warfare.
Their society was structured around it, with a rigid caste system that emphasized military service above all else. This single-minded focus produced soldiers the likes of which the ancient world had rarely seen. Disciplined, fearless, and utterly devoted to their comrades, Spartan hoplites were a force of nature on the battlefield. Think back to the Battle of Thermopylae, where 300 Spartans held off the might of the Persian army for days, against overwhelming odds. Their sacrifice, though ultimately a defeat, became the stuff of legend, a testament to Spartan courage and discipline.
But let's not romanticize them too much. Spartan society was also incredibly harsh, even brutal by modern standards. Their system relied on the subjugation of others, on the backs of the helots, the enslaved population who vastly outnumbered the Spartans themselves. This constant fear of rebellion, this ever-present tension only served to further harden the Spartan spirit, to make them even more formidable in the eyes of their enemies.
So, were the Spartans dangerous? Absolutely. But theirs is a cautionary tale, a reminder that true strength, true power, comes at a cost, and sometimes that cost is the very soul of a civilization.
Chapter 3, The Mongols, the horde that shook the world.
Hold on to your hats, folks, because we're about to cover some serious ground, both figuratively and literally. From the ancient Greeks, we leap forward in time and eastward across continents to the vast steppes of Central Asia. Here, in a land as harsh and unforgiving as the Spartans themselves, rose a power unlike any the world had ever seen, the Mongols.
Forget walled cities and structured armies. The Mongols were the very definition of a nomadic empire, their power rooted in horsemanship, archery, and a mastery of the open terrain few could match. Under the leadership of Genghis Khan, a figure straight out of a history book if there ever was one, these nomadic tribes unified into a force that would come to dominate much of Eurasia.
Imagine, if you will, armies appearing on the horizon, seemingly out of thin air. Mongol horsemen, masters of mounted warfare, could cover incredible distances, appearing where they were least expected and vanishing just as quickly. Their tactics were as fluid as the steppes themselves, a whirlwind of flanking maneuvers, feigned retreats, and devastating archery barrages.
And those arrows? Mongolian composite bows were technological marvels, capable of piercing armor at incredible ranges. They were the great equalizer, allowing these nomadic warriors to bring down even the most heavily armored foes.
But it wasn't just military might that made the Mongols so dangerous. It was their adaptability, their willingness to adopt new technologies and tactics. They were quick studies, these Mongols, incorporating gunpowder weaponry and siege warfare into their arsenal, further cementing their dominance on the battlefield. Their empire, stretching from the Pacific Ocean to Eastern Europe, was a testament to their military genius and ruthlessness.
But it wasn't just about conquest. The Mongols were surprisingly tolerant rulers, fostering trade and cultural exchange across their vast domain. Dangerous? Undoubtedly, but also complex, fascinating, and ultimately, a vital force in shaping the course of history. The Mongols stand as a reminder that power can emerge from the most unexpected places, and that sometimes the greatest empires are built not on walls and cities, but on the backs of horses and the skill of those who ride them. Chapter 4, Aztecs, Empire of the Fifth Sun.
Now from the wind-swept plains of Asia, we journey to a land of vibrant color, of towering pyramids and a civilization steeped in both beauty and bloodshed, Mesoamerica, home to the Aztecs. Picture this, Tenochtitlan, the Aztec capital, a city built on a lake, a marvel of engineering and urban planning. Canals crisscross the city, bustling with canoes laden with goods and people. Towering temples reached for the sky, a testament to Aztec might and their complex religious beliefs.
But beneath this veneer of civilization, a darker truth lurked. The Aztecs were a people obsessed with death, their empire fueled by a constant need for human sacrifice to appease their bloodthirsty gods. Imagine, if you will, the sights and sounds of ritual sacrifice, the stench of blood heavy in the air, the mournful cries of victims echoing across the city. This wasn't just barbarism, though. It was a calculated display of power, a way to cow their enemies and maintain control over their vast empire.
The Aztecs were masters of diplomacy and intimidation, ruling through a complex system of alliances and tribute payments. Their warriors, armed with obsidian-studded clubs and shields adorned with feathers, were a fearsome sight on the battlefield. They were skilled strategists too, often using psychological warfare to break their enemies before a single blow was struck. Imagine being a soldier facing the Aztec army, knowing that capture meant a gruesome death atop a temple pyramid.
But the Aztecs weren't just bloodthirsty conquerors. They were also skilled astronomers, mathematicians, and architects. Their calendar system, still admired for its accuracy, is a testament to their intellectual prowess.
So, were the Aztecs dangerous? Without a doubt. Their empire was built on bloodshed and a belief system that seems alien to us today. But it was also a civilization of great complexity and achievement, a reminder that history is rarely black and white, but rather a tapestry woven from threads of both darkness and light.
Chapter 5, Vikings, Terror from the North.
Hold on to your helmets, folks, because we're sailing north, to the land of fjords and longboats, to a time when the very mention of their name sent chills down the spines of even the bravest souls, the Vikings. Forget the horned helmets, that's Hollywood nonsense. These were warriors of the sea, hardened by the harsh realities of life in Scandinavia.
Imagine, if you will, the icy winds whipping across the deck of a longship, the salt spray stinging your face as you raid a monastery on the coast of England. That was the Viking life, brutal, unforgiving, but also exhilarating in its own way. These weren't just mindless barbarians, though. Vikings were skilled navigators, capable of crossing vast distances in their sturdy longships. They discovered Iceland, Greenland, even North America, centuries before Columbus stumbled upon the New World.
Their shipbuilding skills were unparalleled, their longships capable of navigating both open ocean and shallow rivers. This gave them an incredible tactical advantage, allowing them to strike at will, appearing seemingly out of nowhere to raid and pillage.
And raid they did. From Ireland to Constantinople, the Vikings left their mark, their raids becoming the stuff of legend. But they weren't just interested in loot. Vikings were also traders and explorers, establishing settlements across Europe and beyond. Their impact on history is undeniable. They influenced language, culture, and even the very map of Europe. Their sagas, tales of daring raids and epic battles, continue to capture the imagination.
So, were the Vikings dangerous? Absolutely. But they were also much more than just raiders and pillagers. They were explorers, traders, and yes, even settlers who helped to shape the course of history. Their story is a reminder that sometimes the most fearsome warriors can also be the most adaptable, the most willing to embrace new horizons.
Chapter 6: Echoes of Danger.
And so we reach the end of our journey through the annals of some of history's most formidable civilizations. We've explored the depths of their might, the ingenuity of their warfare, and the chilling impact they had on their world. But beyond the bloodshed and brutality, we've also glimpsed the complexities of these cultures, the artistry, the innovation, the sheer will to survive and thrive against all odds.
It's a stark reminder that history isn't a simple tale of good versus evil, but a nuanced and often uncomfortable exploration of what it means to be human in all its flawed glory. Remember, the past isn't just dates and dusty relics. It's a landscape as alive and relevant as the world we inhabit today.
So, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those critical thinking caps firmly fastened. Because the more we understand the past, the better equipped we are to navigate the present and shape the future. Until next time, keep those history books open and those minds engaged.